Hello everyone, welcome to Aptitude Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from two important newspapers. The first being the Hindu and the other is the Indian Express. It's the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 13th of June. The first news is state asked for higher MSP for the paddy. Second, understanding the organization for Islamic cooperation. This is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Third, India in talk for more choppers from the Indian Navy. Fourth, Ramsay Hunt syndrome. This was there in the news. Recently, a celebrity has been diagnosed with the syndrome. We'll see the detail because this is relevant for the prelims in the science and technology portions. Now, the other is an editorial, A Poor Count. So, this is an editorial from Indian Express. Apart from the news and editorial, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So, without any further delay, let's get started. And if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Aptitude Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. The first news of the day, that is Center asked for higher MSP for paddy, something important for General Studies paper 3 in mains. That is issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies, minimum support price and public distribution system. So recently the Central has announced the MSP, that is the minimum support price, the rate at 2040 per quintal for the paddy, right? And 2060 per quintal for the paddy grade A in the Kharif marketing season for 2022 and 23. That is for this season. But with this decision, many states have raised concern and they have asked for the increase in the MSP. So 14 out of the 15 states and union territories have suggested that minimum support price for the paddy recommended should be higher in the numbers, and one declared by the union government. जो recent में गवर्नमेंट ने डिक्लेयर किया है उससे और नंबर इंक्रीज करने की बात की गई so that these farmer could also make the profit. Paddy is basically a principal crop of the Kharif season that is grown one third of the entire area under the food crop, and this contribute around 40% of the country's food grain basket. So this is a very factually important point that you have to note. Those of you who are from geography, if you're writing in mains paper, make sure you highlight this type of points. As per the agriculture ministry, out of the nominal estimated, that is the area of 126.22 million hectare जो productions की अगर बात करें, this is 2078.79 million ton. The average was there, and for paddy it's account for 43.82 million hectare and 112.44 million tons. So these numbers you don't have to learn, you have to just understand the chronology upon which the estimated areas and how much is the production that is ongoing. Now, demand for increase in MSP range, basically whatever MSP the government releases is on the recommendations of the CACP, that is the Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices. So whenever government releases the MSP, that is a minimum support price, that is backed by the commission recommendations. So the report on the Commission for Agriculture Cost and Price, that is CACP, based on which the government announces the MSP for various crops, all the 15 states and union territories have suggested that the paddy should be in the range of 2000 per quintal to 4513 per quintal, depending upon their productions cost and quality. तो कुछ ऐसे स्टेट्स हैं जिन्होंने जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की प्राइजेज है उससे अलग बात की है रखने की. दिस स्टेट्स इंक्लूड the other union territories apart from Andhra Pradesh, Andaman and Nicobar, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Jammu and Kashmir, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Odisha, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and again West Bengal. So these are the states that have demanded a hike in the MSP prices. Now, which are the crops that is there in the Kharif crop? This is something which UPSC has also asked in the prelims examination. You should understand the difference between Kharif and other crops pattern, the Jayad patterns. So, अगर बात करें खरीफ में rice, corn, soybean, sugarcane, groundnut and cotton. So these are the खरीफ क्रॉप. रवि क्रॉप्स के बारे में आप देख लो, जो जायद क्रॉप्स हैं उन दोनों क्रॉप्स के बारे में भी आप देख लें, बिकॉज मेनी टाइम्स this become important for the prelims examination. Now मेजर पैडी ग्रोइंग स्टेट्स की अगर बात करें, वेस्ट बंगाल, उत्तर प्रदेश, पंजाब, उड़ीसा, आंध्र प्रदेश, तेलंगाना, तमिलनाडु, छत्तीसगढ़, बिहार, Assam are the states where mostly paddy are grown, right? And the demand for the MSP crop is very significant because 1.17 crore farmers are benefited from the Kharif marketing season. Like paddy, majority of the states have also suggested higher MSP for the other Kharif crops. Now, looking into this graph, you will understand that the pricing of paddy, basically the MSP of the paddy by the states and the union territories that were demanded. अब देख सकते हैं जिस states ने demand किए, these are the suggested recommendations per quintal. So the highest number were demanded from Telangana, followed by Maharashtra. Third is Kerala, then Punjab and Karnataka. And if you look into the last top three states, they were in the less number that include Jammu and Kashmir, Jharkhand and Tamil Nadu. For the what government recommended actually for the common paddy, they recommended 2040, and for the grade 1 paddy 2060, which is less in number, and the reason being the states had been demanding for the higher minimum support price. Now MSP prices की अगर बात करें जो variations हो रही है जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने डिक्लेयर की है, this is just to make you understand these numbers and data would again not be relevant for the examination, right? So the center has declared MSP 29704 hybrid, that is Jowar hybrid, and 29904 Jowar Maldini, that is for this particular year. Only one state, that is Tamil Nadu, have suggested lower MSP for Jowar, and the center has declared Tur, that is Arhar, and Urad MSP at 6,600 per quintal, while the other states have suggested that the Urad MSP in the range should be there between 6,500 to 10,880 per quintal. So these are some of the differential rate that was quoted by the states government. For cotton, the states have recommended the MSP of around 6,080 per quintal, but the medium staple crop, that is 6,380, and long staple crop should have suggested a minimum range of 6,206 to 15,890. So what is important for you as an examination, you need to know for which particular crop the ranges vary, right? आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि इस crop की जो range है MSP की वो क्या ranges है. That's it, you don't need to learn any numbers or data here. Now the other news, understanding the organization of Islamic Cooperation. This particular news is important for General Studies paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement evolving India's and affecting India's interest. So this organization was recently in news because the General Secretariat of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation has condemned and denounced the comment which was made on the Prophet Muhammad by the erstwhile national spokesperson of the BJP. Basically, UPSC will never ask you such disputed topic. Whichever topic that is in dispute, UPSC generally tend to not ask question from that particular topic. But what is important here that you should know about the functioning of an organization, that is Organization for Islamic State Corporations, right? So here the question arises that some part again relevant for prelims and other part also relevant for the mains examination. Now we'll be focusing into the Organization of Islamic Corporation and not about this news. So what is OIC? That is Organization of Islamic Corporation. This was established in 1969 summit in the Rabat in Morocco. And IOC is the second largest organization after the United Nations that has a member of 57 states, that is spread over 4 continents. And the organization is a collective voice for the Muslim world, right? So this make it more important compared to the other organizations. Now, what the IOC endeavors first is establish the solidarity among the members, support the restoration of complete sovereignty, territorial integrity of the member state under the occupations, protect, defend, combat, and defame the Islam, defamations of Islam, prevent growing dissensions in the Muslim society, and work to ensure that the member states are united stands on the international stage. So these are some of the endeavors and potential work upon which the organization work. Now, what is the charter that IOC call upon? The organization adheres to a charter that laid down the objective, principle, and operating mechanism. If you look into the way back, 1972 की अगर बात करें, the charter was revised multiple times in line with the emerging development and the requirement. So it actually evolved over the time, right? And the present charter was adopted in March 2008 at the current Senate, and it enshrined that all members should be guided and inspired by the noble Islamic teaching, along with committing themselves to the purpose and the principle of UN Charter. Now, the members are also expected to uphold and promote good governance, democracy, human right, fundamental freedom, rule of law, setting dispute through peaceful means, and refrain from any use of threat and force. So, this is a core idea behind the organization, behind the OIC, and this OIC is something which is the reason this is recognized, because the main core idea is to call for a peaceful means and refrain from any threat. The functioning of OIC, that is Islamic Summit, composed of KIG, head of the state, and the supreme authority of the organizations, right? And the Council of Foreign Minister and the chief decision making body meets annually to decide to implement the OIC general policies. The UN members for Muslim majority can join the organization. The member is to be rectified with the full consensus, जहाँ पे आई OIC की जो council है, that has the foreign minister. Now, the OIC is financed by the member of the proportionate in their national income, and OIC has also standing committee for corporations, informations and culture affair, economic, commercial matters, scientific and technology initiatives for zero slur. So these are some of the major functioning of the OIC. Now, OIC relationship with India. India is associated with 57 member grouping and has not been easy throughout. Even India has a good relationship with the United Arab Emirates. Saudi Arabia, its member and engagement has been constantly challenged by the Pakistan, because Pakistan is a country which never favored basically the presence of India in the OIC. Late India External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj attended the OIC plenary foreign ministers in Abu Dhabi as a guest honors. And in 2018, Bangladesh has promoted India to be given as an observer status in the OIC, considering the sizable Muslim population in India. Right. So this can be factually important that Bangladesh has pitched for India's observer status. And for prelims, it is important to note that India still do not have the observer status category for the OIC. Now, India in talk for more choppers, something important for General Studies Paper 3, various security forces, agencies, and their mandate. According to the Vice President of Boeing, Boeing is the largest manufacturer of the Airbus in the world. So, the Vice President of Boeing said that India is negotiating to purchase the additional Chinook, that is CH-47FI, and this is heavy lift helicopters. Apart from this, AH-64E Apache attack helicopter would be given to India. India is negotiating on their part. Very possibly, India is looking forward to buy it. The FA-18EF Super Hornet fighter jet has distinct advantages over the other competitors like Rafale, which we have recently inducted from France. और इसके ऑपरेशंस की अगर बात करें, इंडियन नेवी को बेसिकली अपग्रेड करने की कोशिश की जा रही है, सो दैट वी कैन हैव स्टेट ऑफ आर्ट चॉपर्स इन आवर कंट्री. द प्रेजेंट कैपेसिटी ऑफ इंडियन नेवी की अगर बात करें, इंडियन एयरफोर्स बेसिकली नेवी एंड एयरफोर्स they operate with 22 Apache attack helicopters and 15 Chinook heavy lift helicopters procured from Boeing, and the foreign military sales program from the United States under 3 billion deal that was there in September 2015, right? And during the last visit, the US president, basically he is not more president now, the former president, that is Donald Trump, in February 2020, India has signed 6 more APCHs cost around 800 millions. Last month, two Boeing, that is FA-18, they're in Goa to demonstrate the compatibility and suitability to operate with Indian spacecraft, conducting trials, and the Indian Navy shore-based test facility, जिसको SBTF भी कहते हैं. Rafale M has carried out similar demonstration earlier this way also. Now, roadmap for the basically Air Force and Navies. So F-818, that is FA-18F can operate off Indian aircraft carriers, and the Navy has originally projected that 57 aircraft under D, but the number is likely to be devised to 26 within the backdrop of indigenous engines that would be carrier-based tech, and even it is developed indigenously. Now, with the indigenous carrier Vikrant, which is set to be commercialized, I have already discussed this news about the commercializing of Vikrant. Very soon, they will be commercialized with the Indian Navy, and Navy is an urgent need for getting the carrier-based jets to operate with more efficiently, and these two carrier would be the part of the Navy front. Now, the other news, that is Ramsay Hunt syndrome. This is important for General Studies paper 3, disease, genetics, and syndrome. Why I'm discussing this news? Because this can be a question in the prelims and many other competitive examination about the nature of this disease and how the epidemiologically this is relevant for your examination. So recently, a famous Canadian pop singer has revealed that he has been diagnosed with the conditions of Ramsay Hunt syndrome, which has been fully paralyzed of the right side of his face. Right. So you can see this image. The paralysis continue over the faces, and it is more towards the right side of the face. Right. So, what is Ramsay Hunt syndrome? We'll be looking into the important aspects of the diseases, as किस तरह से इसकी pathological treatments है और experts की क्या opinion है. The Ramsay Hunt syndrome is a neurological disease in which virus varicella zoster, this is important for you examination. This is the virus that actually impact the entire immune system. The virus cause inflammation in the nerve involved in the facial movement. So जो nervous systems है, basically nervous system control each and every part of your body. But the nerves which actually involve in the facial movement is being severely impacted in this syndrome. Now when the nerves get inflamed, they lose their ability to function and leading to the facial palsy or paralysis. There are 20 cranial nerves in the body, and if you look into the Ramsay Hunt syndrome, the viral infection impact the seventh cranial nerves that is involved in the facial movement. So the point to be noted, the first is the seventh cranial nerve, and the other part of the movement that is severely impacted is the facial movement. Now, what are the symptoms of this syndrome? The symptoms include painful red rashes, blisters around the ears, and the facial paralysis on the same side. And the patients also report hearing losses in ears that has been impacted as a part of from the ringing sounds also, and an inability to close their eyes caused by the dryness. So even the closing of eyes is not possible, and the dryness continue to basically extend to both eyes as well. The virus that cause Ramsay Hunt syndrome, varicella zoster virus, that is also known as VZV, is the same virus that cause chickenpox and shingles. According to the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, they have quoted that virus belongs to herpes virus that can stay in the body in the latent infection. Latent infection वैसी infection होती है जो बाद में भी body में actually incubate करती है और severely impact करती है body. This virus can dormant in the present human body and can reawaken to attack the nerves. According to the doctors, VZV, that is varicella zoster virus, can reactivate due to weakening of the immune system. It is very important that one should have a good immune system, and if you want to boost your immune system, make sure you are adequately taking sufficient amount of vitamin C, zinc, phosphorus in your diet. So some of the reports that have also suggested that T4 cell defunctions, basically अगर T4 cells की बात करें, I'm not getting into the detail, but T4 lending cells जो होते हैं, जो भी patients HIV से infected होते हैं, उनके T cells hugely impact होते हैं. Even for the COVID patients, we have seen that the T cell were impacted. Reason being, the immune system was not that strong. So it is very important to have a good immune system to get prevented from such kind of syndromes, right? So some reports have suggested that the T cell dysfunction caused by the coronavirus has also infected to the reactivate of VZV. Now this is an image that will help you understand that how this varicella zoster virus that is similar to HSV in the mode of transmission. You can see this is a subcutaneous layer of the skin. This is the nerve cell. This is dermis. Epidermis is the outer layer and the lesioning cells. Nerve fiber are impacted by the VZV, And the reason, this is something it reflect on your face and upper side of your chest region. Now, nature of this Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, the disease is not contagious, and even it can lead to chicken poxes who the individuals are not vaccinated. And the blisters scrap off, the patients are advisable to avoid the contact with low immunity. ऐसे patient जिनकी immunity low है वो इस तरह से लोगों को avoid करें. Although contagious नहीं है, but again it can impact. So one who have not have chicken pox and who are not vaccinated against it. Now, recover from the syndrome. What are the reason? Basically, how the recovery is possible and what is the status? As per the doctors, the disease is reversible and the patient get cured within 15 to 3 months, depending upon the infections and the harm that has been impacted, the cells that has been damaged, and even the hearing loss is reversible. This is what the expert has to quote with regard to the syndrome. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, a poor count, something relevant for General Studies Paper 3, Indian economy, issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth, and development. So, the entire editorial focuses upon the incomplete data, absence of the data. So, under this editorial, I'll be simplifying my four important subheads. The first is the poverty estimations, exercised by IMF and World Bank, divergent data sets, and some concerns. So the incomplete data or the absence of data bring out macroeconomics model to estimate the important results. ये देखा गया कोविड-19 के जो डेथ्स में खास करके जो कोविड-19 की इम्पैक्ट्स देखी गई, जो उसकी वनरेबिलिटीज देखी गई, जो लाइवलीहुड ऑप्शंस में उनके डेक्रीमेंटल इफेक्ट्स थे, इवन फॉर द इकोनॉमिक रिपरकशंस, द डेटाज आर they are not giving an adequate idea, but some data are even contradictory in nature. So some economists have argued that the pandemic has directly impacted the informal works and those employed in the smaller establishment by pushing them into the poverty. Now, poverty की estimations की अगर बात करें, कुछ important benchmarks हैं इंडिया में upon which the poverty is estimated. So the poverty estimations through the consumption approach has its challenges, and researchers has been attempting to arrive at the poverty estimations based on the data available from the government and from the small sample studies. तो कुछ exercises जो IMF और World Bank ने की हैं, they have taken in data from the government of India. So the IMF exercise that was carried out using the adjustment of the private final consumption, and these data were taken actually from the national account statistics. इसके मुताबिक जो expenditure है इनका by the government is under the public distribution system, right? And the World Bank has tried to estimate the head count, which is the data taken by the CMEI, Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. तो दोनों की जो कंज्यूमर पिरामिड्स है उसमें डिफरेंस देखी गई है once that we've seen in the national account statistics. Now, relating to the NSS consumer expenditure data, that is from 2011, it shows that the National Family Health Survey, periodic labor force situations or survey, and the situational assessment for agriculture household and Indian debt investment survey are something which is quoting different numbers and impacting the different sexes. The exercise appear not to follow the basic principle of statistics. This is what the experts are coming after the recommendations that were made by the IMF and the World Bank. Now, divergent data sets, in fact, lot of the econometric tweeting the probability has carried out efforts to divert from the sets of NSS and CMI, and it was noted कि इंडिया की जो यूजर एनएसएस कंजम्पशन एक्सपेंडिचर है सर्वे दैट मेजर्स द पॉवर्टी एंड रिजल्ट फ्रॉम इट carried out in 2016 are not available due to the quality issues and data collected. Now, some concerns. The World Bank paper appear to be based on unrealistic and unviable assumptions. क्यों ऐसी बात की गई है उसके पहले रीजंस ये दिए गए. फर्स्ट, that the sample design of the NSSs and CMI survey are different. So these two data and numbers that taken into consideration are different in nature, and the NSSs adopt a multi-stage stratified sampling, while the CMI, that is Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, uses the rotational sampling. This is the first difference, and even the basic definition of the household is different in the two surveys. So the reason being, there was a differential approach that was taken by the expert. However, other doubts have been raised about the CMI data in terms of its representations. सेकेंड, जो एनएसएसओ की डेटा है, एनएसएस की डेटा है, दैट इज कलेक्टिव इंफॉर्मेशन मोर देन 345 यूनिक आइटम्स टू अराइव टू अ कंजप्शन एक्सपेंडिचर, वेयर एज सीएमआई में ये सारी चीजें सिर्फ 140 आइटम्स पे है. While the NSSS expenditure is based on the recall principle or recall period of 30 days, while the food item for the other CMI is taken for 365 days. The Consumer Pyramid Household Survey consumption expenditure is based on the recall period that lasts for 4 months. Other two differences. Third is that there is a time difference between the data used by the NSS survey, that is for year 2011, और CMI की जो data ली गई है वो current की ली गई है from 2015 to 19. And the lack of the comparable year between these two models has introduced another error. Fourth, the change in the weight of the CMI survey at the household level and NFS survey that may not be correctly reflecting the weight patterns in the changes of the consumption expenditure for the long period can also be required for the demographic and other changes. So how we can conclude this data is basically four. We can say that data discriminations or data manipulations. So the measurement of the poverty at the national level does not serve a policy purpose. It should ensure that the policy or data that is being derived should actually help the government to formulate a policy which is actually helping the citizen at the ground, right? So one has to go down at both district, states and block level, even for the village level, to identify that which program is working. So this is more sort of a bottom up approach where each and every hierarchy of the administration need to taken into consideration. And India has already been measured for a multi-dimensional poverty that has been a better understanding of depreciations. Now, another initiative is the aspirational district program by the government of India that is being extended to the block level and provide directions for the location where specific interventions are required. So, this is how you can redraw your conclusion if you're writing this in mains paper. Now, moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of Saturday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, also the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for the day, that is SAW, Smart Anti-Air Fight Weapon. So it's indigenously developed by DRDO in Hyderabad in collaboration with the IAF. And it is capable of engaging ground enemy airfield asset, that is radar, bunker, etc. upon the range of 100 kilometers. So do check it out for the correct options. Second, Varuna 2021 is the 19th edition of Indian Navy French exercise, which is being conducted at Arabian Sea. And this is for the first time United Arab Emirates is participating in the Varuna maritime exercise. So these are some of the relevant questions that you need to practice at the home. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.